We've covered this briefly before, reference controversial exercises. When I showed the deep dip, of course, I get a comment or two saying you shouldn't be doing that, which kind of triggers me back. Like, I'm triggering them, then they're triggering me. It doesn't get to me that bad. I can't fathom why some people would think, like, I can't do that, so you shouldn't be doing it either. It's gatekeeping attitude, isn't it? No, someone told me not to do it, so I'm telling you not to do it, and that's how it lives on, rather than questioning why. Why shouldn't we do it though? Well, because I got injured doing it. Right, don't you think that means you weren't ready for it? You seen some dude doing some fucking monstrous exercise on the gram, and then you tried to copy it like a knobhead, and you fucked yourself up. Like, you weren't ready for it. You gotta condition yourself, and you can condition yourself for pretty much anything. Look at them contortionists. The body is fucking remarkable, isn't it, really? As long as you build up to it safely and humbly and start at the progression that you're capable with, you can fucking conquer anything. Any movement, any exercise. I've been told before when I'm doing back bends that you're not supposed to bend that way, and I think it's just jealousy. Like, well, I couldn't do that, so I'm just going to tell you that you shouldn't be doing it. I do think it's good advice to give to the masses en masse to say, okay, this is in the cautionary category, be wary, okay, with the neck and the spine. But as long as you have conditioned your joints and your tendons and built up to it with progressive overload, like the old Milo story, if you went to pick up a fucking cow today, you're probably gonna twinge your fucking back muscles. But if you lifted up that calf when it was a baby, and then you carried on lifting it every single day, as it gets bigger, you get stronger with it. But we don't, do we? We just see some dude lifting up a cow and we think, right, I'm going to try that. You didn't warm up to it. It's kind of an ego thing. I seen it happening during COVID when everyone found themselves with the opportunity to leave the house to walk the dog or exercise. So loads of people who hadn't been for a run in years were like, right, I'm going to put my trainers on and go for a run. But maybe you should go for a walk first, like build up to it and then start jogging and then sprint and then go back to jogging, etc. But we think we are who we were years ago without having maintained that fitness. And shoes is another one. There's lots of research now saying that, which isn't surprising, that we're better off barefoot, not cramping our toes so we have no traction. But people just go from mega expensive running shoes, like Pavel says, the more expensive your shoe, the worse they are for your feet. That's because you're not conditioning your feet at all. They're wrapped up in cotton wool. And people test it out by just running barefoot, from going from trainers to barefoot immediately with no progression, instead of maybe just walking around the house barefoot first. The dip is another one. The dip gets put in the banned category by a load of like new school athletes who say, nah, it fucks your shoulders up, don't do it. And people are looking up to them, they listen, and then a good exercise gets banished and gets pissed on and doesn't get done when there's loads of gains to be had with that exercise. If push-ups are too easy, I mean, there's 1,000 different variations of push-ups you could do, but you want to be progressing to dips and weighted dips and deep dips. One dude was on here who does a hell of a lot of high rep calisthenics, and he hurt his shoulder doing dips, and he pretty much ostracized that movement. So he equates doing dips to injury, rather than saying, okay, maybe I was ego lifting or I hadn't done dips for a while, so it was a bit of a shock to my body. He's saying that, nah, leave that one, don't do it, put it in the dark corner, like the old Lion King meme. You shouldn't get on the dip bar, no one else do it because I fucked myself up doing it. It's just poor advice. It's not responsible. Like I say, you can can do anything physically if you build up to it. Anyway, hopefully this is just a small display of some of the things that the human body is capable of. I'm not really doing it justice. I'm just scratching the surface. There's a lot of people that take the piss more than me, and I've got aspirations to do some pretty cool things in the future. But the point is, the body is capable of a lot more than just moving in nice straight lines and going to the gym and sitting down on the machine or lying on the bench press. That's all good, but life isn't perfect, is it? It's not symmetrical. You want functional strength. It's all well and good curling those perfectly balanced dumbbells, but when you go to lift your kids or bags of shopping, it's not always ideal like that. I think we're moving in a positive direction. There's lots of people now squatting with the knees over the toes and training their back to be strong in a rounded position. Just like wrestlers, right? You know, people lose their shit when they see someone's back rounding for a deadlift. And that's fair enough if they've got a ridiculous amount of weight and they're not strong in that position. But wrestlers are constantly rounding their back to lift up heavy fucking dudes and flip them on their head. Or tennis. Tennis is another example, isn't it? The knees are just constantly changing direction. It's not all like a perfect demonstration of form. You make some pretty fucking weird shapes when you're playing tennis or football or any sports in general. So I believe the more that you train outside of the lines, let's say, colouring outside of the lines, the more you will be prepared and able to deal with actual life, like real life. But of course, building up to it humbly, gradually, and knowing your limitations.